Okay, friends, welcome. We're going to start out in a cross-legged position, so just bring yourself down when you're ready. And take a moment and scoot yourself to the front edge of your sit bones. You can pull the flesh away or walk yourself back. And then your hands on your thighs, just a big inhale to roll your shoulders up towards your ears, lengthening your spine, and exhale out the mouth to roll the ears down away from the back. And if that felt good, just take that another time. And this is kind of like seated cat-cow. So the inhale, you might lean forward a little bit, lift up, and on the exhale, you might arch up a little bit. And yeah, that might feel nice just a few times at the beginning here. Right on. And then I want you just to relax the weight of your arms, close your eyes, feel that length in your spine from the front edge of your sit bones all the way up through the back of your neck. And then let your exhale out all the way down to empty. Breathe into the low belly and low back for 1, 2, 3, and hold it. And then breathe air into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. 2, 3, and hold there. Bring the air all the way into your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Once you've got the full breath, hold and relax. And then exhale nice and slow all the way down to empty, just controlling the release of the breath. And once you get down to the bottom, I want you to fire up your ujjayi breathing, the breath of victory. Starting to take those inhales through your nose like you're sipping the air in through a straw, just smoothly filling from the bottom, from the middle, all the way up to the top. And then those slow, controlled exhales out the nose like you're fogging up a mirror. And as you focus in on your breathing, on your inhaling and on your exhaling, we get this brilliant peace with the mind, where we start to bring the mind out of fixing, solving, changing the past or the future, and you start to bring the mind right into what's happening here and now, the experience of being in the body, and just that experience of the breath, or the experience of the sounds around you or the smells around you, anything that draws us into the present moment, present experience. So as we go through the yoga postures, as we start to add more of a flow with the class, this breath remains the central core part of the class. So let it be your guide for your practice, and then simply take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Blink your eyes open to a soft gaze up front. And then on inhales, just stretch and reach your arms out wide, reach up tall through the fingertips. And on the exhales, just bring your hands down into your heart center. We'll grab this a few times. And I love that moment when you start to add movement in with the breath, and you're just letting the length of your breath, the depth of your breath, control the movement of your body. The next time that your hands come down into your heart center, we'll just take the legs out in front of us and give a little roll out into your ankles, maybe bending your knees one at a time, just kind of casually bringing some length into your legs. And then for a seated twist, leave your left leg extended and just grab your right leg and just give a gentle hug in towards your body. You can grab with your elbows, your hands. Eventually, we'll plant the right foot to the outside of your left thigh. Left leg is fine to stay extended, or bend your left knee so the heel's to the outside of your sit bone. And then our twist will open over to the right side of the room. So you can wrap your left arm to the outside of that right leg, or you could bring the elbow to the outside of your knee. Right hand is behind you. And if you haven't yet, inhale to lengthen the spine up tall. And then with the exhale, twist your gaze back across your shoulder. And as you keep your gaze back across your shoulder, so as you hold the twist, that inhale is going to come in and work slightly against the twist, but then when your exhale comes, you'll feel your body release a little bit more into it. While you're here, if you want to stretch out the right side of your neck, tilt your left ear forward to your left shoulder. And then as you lengthen the right side of your neck, you could lift your chin up in space, finding the front edge. Or you could let your chin come down, finding the back edge. Again, just using that breath to massage it out. And if your head's to the side, it might feel nice to take one more inhale to lift your head upright, gaze to the right, and then one more exhale to take your gaze back across your right shoulder to the back of the room. Get down to empty, and then let's unwind that twist. Take the legs out in front of us. Take a moment to reset, just a little roll out through the ankles. And then leaving that right leg extended, grab your left leg and just create that gentle cradle, just hugging the leg in towards you, warming up your hip. And eventually we'll plant left foot outside of your right thigh, knees up in space. Again, right leg could stay extended, or you're going to add that bend into your knee so the heel's to the outside of your sit bone. We can wrap right arm outside of left leg, or elbow outside of your knee. Take your left hand behind you, and if you have not yet, inhale to reach your spine up tall in space. And with the exhale, twist from center and send your gaze back over your shoulder. And what I love when you get into these poses, like that feels really good on my back, simply just to do the twist. But then to add that you're holding the twist, and then you're using that full belly breath to massage it out. That's where you really start to get that loosening through the spine, the movement of the breath in the pose. If you stretched out the right side of your neck last time, let's tilt the right ear forward to the right shoulder. Get into the left side of your neck. And again, feel free to lift the chin up in space, finding the front edge, or to let the chin come forward and down, finding the back edge. Find that inhale that lengthens your head back up in space, your gaze is to the left. One more exhale to twist from center, gaze across your shoulder to the back of the room, get all the way to empty. And then as we unwind out of this one, you can start to bring yourself forward into a tabletop, finding your hands underneath your shoulders, your hips above your knees, and then cat and cow. So just at your own pace, working between the bow in your spine, dropping the belly, lifting the head and tailbone, and then that arch in your back, cat, mid-back high, weight of the head releases down. You can add any side-to-side movement or back-and-forth movement. Let your breath lead the way here. And then to warm up your wrists, friends, we'll turn the insides of the wrists forward to the front of the room. Your fingers point back and your thumbs are to the side. And then you have full control of how much downwards pressure is going into it. You could lean left or right. You could lean forward and backwards or circle. Another method is to lean your sit bones back towards your heels and then peel the hands off the mat to your fingertips and then roll back forward. So you're getting the full massage of the circle of the palm, your fingers, and your knuckles. We could do the back of the hands as well. So again, your fingers could face towards one another or they could face to the back. And then same thing, side to side, back and forth. Maybe peeling the back of the hands off the mat to your fingernails and then rolling back forwards. And then for hero's pose, you bring the feet together, sit bones are to your heels. We won't be here for very long, but we can use hero's pose to give a rollout through the wrists. Move into your fingers. Yeah, and if hero's pose is not a good thing for you, or it's not working for your knees, we can get up on the knees. We can stand up on the knees for a moment. And then once you're feeling that your wrists, your forearms, your hands are warmed up, take that step back into your plank. Maybe give a little forwards and backwards motion in your plank. So you're just feeling into the muscles holding you up in space. Draw those hips right up on level with your shoulders. Micro bend your elbows. Tone your biceps into center. And then stay on your toes or come down to your knees and cross your ankles in space behind you. Just take 3 slow push-ups. So exhales bringing you halfway down to Chaturanga Dandasana, leading with the sternum, and inhales that bring you back up. And the goal is, as you do these, is to avoid bending your hips. So keep that plank either from your knees all the way through the back of the neck or from your toes all the way through the back of the neck. After 3 of those, friends, lower all the way down to your belly, and we are moving on to Bhujangasana Low Cobra. So slide your palms lower down the torso to frame mid-ribs. Elbows are up high in space. Squeeze your elbows together on the back, and then start to lift your chest off the ground and create length through the back of your neck. Find that breath. Your shoulders are coming in towards one another and then sliding down away from the ears, and they're helping to lift the chest up off the ground. We're really into those snake muscles in the body, the core muscles, the back muscles. On your next exhale, bring your chest down to the ground and make your way into downward facing dog. So you can do that through tabletop. You can do that through your plank. As you create the A-frame of downward facing dog, relax the weight of your head and slowly walk your dog out. Let one heel pull down towards the ground at a time as you bend through opposite knee. And then we can start to think about that rather than dropping the weight forward into your hands, first off, you're pressing into your hands, into the circle of your palm, into your fingers spread out. Biceps are toned in towards center line like you're holding tennis balls between your ears and your biceps. Head is released, and then your hips are lifted back and up in space away from your hands. And from that peak of your A-frame, you're starting to open the length in the back of your legs. Next exhale, come back down to your tabletop. And then we'll take the right leg backwards and the left arm forwards. So teeter-totter at tabletop. Gaze is down. Find that straight line from the front of the room to the back. Breathe in. And on your next exhale, round through your spine, bringing elbow, knee in. Inhale, open back up, extend. And just find that a couple more times. Exhale to round and draw in. Inhale to open back up. One last time. You got it. As you open back up, leave your right leg lifted. Drop your left hand down under your left shoulder. Pivoting with your left knee, turn your left toes off the left side of your mat, and then reach your right arm up tall in space. So we're balancing on left hand, left knee, and left toes. Perfect. Press your heel to the wall behind you, foot's on level with your hip, and now start to reach your right fingertips to the front of the room. Invitation to stay here, or if you'd like to bind this, you can bend your right knee, bring the heel to your right sit bone, and then take your hand to the top of the foot, gently kick the foot into the hand, and try to twist your gaze slightly open towards the sky as you're here. If you fall out of it, no worries. Just stay playful with your balance. And then on an inhale, open up, extend. And as you exhale, bring your right hand back to the ground and swivel your left toes so they are back, pointing to the back of the room. Your right leg is still lifted. When you're ready, you'll take it back to a three-legged downward facing dog. Right leg lifts back and up in space. Feel that length from your hands all the way back up through your right heel. On your next exhale, bring your right knee to your left elbow or tricep, and we're holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, open back up, and on your exhale, bring your knee to your right elbow or tricep. Hold in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up. And exhale, knee to your forehead, round the back. 3, 2, 1. One more inhale, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, step up into that low lunge position. Drop the knife edge of your left foot to the ground, and we'll rise up into our warrior two. You can immediately open your arms up. You could also bring your hands to your hips or to your low back and start to feel more into your stance. Heels lined up in one line from the front of the room to the back. Feel that knife edge of your left foot pressing down into the ground so there's strength in your left leg fired into it. Right sit bone tucked underneath your body, spine up nice and tall, thighs are toning in, and then that extension of your arms finally out in space. Shoulder heads released down away from the ears on the back. Take the gaze right out over your front fingertips. And then on your next exhale, find your extended side angle pose. So your right forearm down into your right thigh. Left arm on a diagonal from left leg, or left arm straight up in space. Feel that strength in your inner right side body. Feel that strength through your legs here. We'll inhale to open to a star shape. So all 10 toes point over to the left, arms lift up nice and tall, and then on your exhale, a wide-legged squat. So you're going to bring your heels in underneath your knees. You can put your hands on your thighs, and your feet can go out at 45. And then with your hands to your thighs, we're going to do some twists through our spine. So the inhale, just your spine is up in space, and on your exhale, dip your right shoulder to your left knee towards the back of the room. Awesome. Inhale, we'll bring it back up at center. And then exhale, switch that out, left elbow to right knee. Take it one more time on each side, friends. And then we'll just meet up in that wide-legged squat. Your spine is straight up in space. Legs are nice and strong. Inhale to reach back up into your star. And on your exhale, open back to your warrior two to the front of the room. Turn your right palm to the sky, breathe into it, and then reverse your warrior on your exhale. So left hand could be to your hip, to your thigh, or behind you. Let that left ear, your left shoulder rather, melt down away from your left ear. And if you came up out of your lunge at all, recommit into that lunge while you're toning your legs into center line. Feel that lift of your right side body nice and tall up in space. Breathe in here, and on your exhale, we'll cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot, turn onto the ball of the left foot. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Gaze just comes forward towards the front of the room. Your back left heel's pulling off the ground so that left foot's coming forward, right thigh's coming to meet it. Breathe into that high lunge, and then we'll just take a flying lunge on your exhale. So extend your arms back in space. Your spine is very similar to low cobra, length through the back of your neck, shoulder blades toned in towards one another. And then a big inhale to come all the way up into a one-legged mountain. So you're lifting your arms, and then you're lifting that left knee up in space. Right foot is rooted to the ground. Find that length all the way up through your spine. Feel your left thigh bone plugging into your hips. And then we'll complete this series with a twist. So on an exhale, you can reach your left hand behind you. Right arm can go forward, or your right hand can just grab on the outside of that left thigh, that left knee, and you can pull against it. One great thing with balance is if you can focus your gaze on something. So as you turn your gaze from the front, more to the side, or even more to the back, keep finding those objects that aren't moving that you can focus on. Inhale, just bring it back up to one-legged mountain. If you want to add an extension of your leg forward in space, lift up through the thigh, press out through the heel. And then on an exhale, just root the foot to the ground, bring your hands into your heart center at standing. Inhale to reach up tall into Tadasana Mountain. And on your exhale, cactus your arms, take a baby back bend. Inhale, reach back up tall in space. With that exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, press to your shins, tone your shoulders in, slight bend in the knees, gaze is down, refold on the exhale, and then a ragdoll frame. So your feet are at hip bone distance, opposite hand grabs opposite elbow or bicep, and then just allow the weight of the torso, head, and arms to sway side to side or to lightly rock back and forth. Beautiful breathing. You can release your arms out of that ragdoll, step back to your plank, and then your choice of how you want to go to down dog. So it could be halfway to Chaturanga Dandasana. You could go directly to down dog. Could be upward facing dog or a low cobra. Up dog, tops of the feet, biceps toned in, shoulders down, and then eventually hips back and up to our down dog. Your next exhale, friends, just release down into your tabletop. And once you've got that tabletop, we're taking the left leg backwards and extending the right arm forwards in space. Gaze is down to the ground. Breathe in here, and as you exhale, just bring elbow, knee in, rounding spine. And then take that a couple more times. Inhales to open, right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, pull in. You're doing 3 in all, so 1 more. Inhale, open back up. And then exhale, bring it in. We'll meet back up at the extension, and then you bring the right hand down under your shoulder. Your left leg is still up. Pivot with your right knee. Turn your right toes off the right side of your mat, and then take the left arm up. Try to press your heel into the wall behind you, lifting the foot up on level with your hip, and then reach your left fingertips forward to the front of the room. You can stay here or bind. Bend your left knee, left hand reaches to the top of the foot. If you connect, find that balance of kicking and pulling. And try to take the gaze, if you can, just slightly up in space. Stay playful with your balance. You're doing great. On an inhale, we can open up and re-extend. And as you exhale, bring the left hand down to the ground. Turn your right toes back where they were, so they're towards the back of the mat. They're tucked, so you can now just lift your left leg back and up into a 3-legged downward facing dog. Beautiful, friends. Find the stability. Find the press through your heel. And on an exhale, the knee to your right elbow or tricep. Here para 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale to bring the knee to the left elbow or tricep. 5, 4, 3,
dos, uno. Inhale, reach back up. And on the exhale, the knee into your forehead, back heel goes high. Cuatro, tres, dos, uno. One more three-legged down dog on the inhale. And as you exhale, you're up into your low lunge position. And then drop the knife edge of your right foot to the ground and start to work into your warrior two. Again, feeling that press down through both of your legs, your thighs toning into center line, the stability of the legs, and then the torso coming straight up in space from the stability. Chest is nice and open, shoulder heads released, gaze is out across those fingertips, piercing forward. Breathe into it. Next exhale, extended side angle pose. So left forearm to left thigh, or left arm down the inside of the leg, right arm on the diagonal or up in space. And then just a little thing to think about, if your back right hip popped up and it's higher than your left hip, try to work that right hip back down on level with your left hip while you're here. So you've got lots of lift going on that inside left body. The inhale brings us to our star, now facing over to the right side of the room. And on the exhale, find that wide-legged squat. This is our horse pose. From the wide-legged squat, friends, we're going to hold it this time. You can do this with your hands at your heart center. You can do it with your hands on your thighs or your arms open wide. If you want to layer it up a piece, take it off of your heels onto the balls of your feet. And you might step the legs in just a little bit closer if you're going up to the balls of the feet. And again, think about the stability you're creating in the foundation of the legs, all the way up into your glutes, all the way up into your core, all the way up into your chest and your back. On your inhale, reach back up into your star. And as you exhale, warrior two to the front of the room. Turn the left palm to the sky, breathe into it. And as you exhale, reverse your warrior, reaching up tall through that left side body. Using your inhales, using your exhales. Breathe into our reverse warrior, and as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot. Turn onto the ball of the right. The inhale brings us into just a high crescent lunge. That left knee is right over the left heel. That right heel is drawing forward. You're on the ball of your right foot. You're feeling the stability of your legs, the lift up through your chest. And on an exhale, tilt forward. Fly your arms back and find the length through the back of your neck. We'll use this flying lunge on an inhale to come all the way up into our one-legged mountain, bringing your arms and bringing your right knee with you. Root into your left foot. Focus your gaze on something that's not moving, and when you're feeling set and ready for it, find the twist on this side. So right hand behind you, left arm forward, or grabbing the outside of your right knee or thigh. And again, keep looking for those objects that you can focus on as you twist your gaze deeper back behind you or more to the side of the room. From our twist, inhale brings us to one-legged mountain. If you want to layer up, you can lift your right thigh up in space as you reach your right leg forward from your core. The exhale, it simply roots the foot to the ground, brings the hands into your heart center. Inhale to reach up into Tadasana, mountain. Exhale to cactus your arms, baby back bend, shining through the chest. Inhale to reach back up in space. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive forward fold. Inhale halfway up to lengthen. Refold on the exhale. And then you can do your peace sign fingers around your big toes. Or for gorilla pose, walk your palms underneath your feet. Toes touch the back of the wrists. You could alternatively take the back of your forearms, the belly of your forearms rather, to the back of the calves. And then while you're here in this forward fold, you're gently pulling against the toes or the feet or the back of the legs to draw yourself in slightly deeper and to feel the lift of your hips back up away from that pull. Weight of the head totally relaxed, and just working through those inhales, working through those exhales. Take this last final round of breath. On your exhale, maybe it's just a sigh out of the mouth. And once you're there, you'll release your hands, step back to your plank, and then your choice of how you're going to get to down dog. Maybe you go directly from plank to down dog. Or maybe you go chaturanga dandasana halfway down. Maybe upward facing dog, or maybe you work with low cobra, and then eventually coming back into our down dog. We're going to go into the breath to movement part of our class, friends, and I'm going to skip that little tabletop piece, although it will come back later on in class. So one inhale brings us to one pose, and exhale to the next. It begins with inhaling the right leg to a three-legged down dog, and on your exhale, bringing the right knee to your left elbow or tricep. Inhale, right leg back up, and then exhale, knee over to your right elbow or tricep. Inhale, reach back up. And on the exhale, the knee into your forehead, round the back. Inhale, three-legged down dog. And on the exhale, all the way up to your low lunge. Knife edge of the left foot to the ground. Inhale, warrior two to the front of the room. And as you exhale, extended side angle pose. Inhale, reach up to your star, facing to the left side of the room. And as you exhale, your wide-legged squat, your horse. Inhale, come back up into your star, open wide through your body, and exhale, warrior two to the front of the room. Inhale, reverse your warrior, keep pressing into that lunge, and on your exhale, come down into your low lunge position. Your inhale is a high crescent lunge, lift up, and on your exhale, just a flying lunge, arms back. Big inhale all the way up into one-legged mountain. And on the exhale, we take that twist, opening to the left. Left hand behind you, right arm forward. Inhale, regular one-legged mountain. You could add extension of your left leg forward. And on the exhale, just bring the foot to the ground, hands into your heart center. Inhale, reach up to mountain. And on the exhale, cactus open, baby back bend. Inhale, reach up into mountain. And on the exhale, hinge out from the hips and swan dive forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen, strengthen your spine. Plant your hands, come back to your plank, and then your choice of how you're going to get to down dog. As we meet in down dog, inhale your left leg up, three-legged down dog. And on the exhale, bring your knee over to your right elbow or tricep. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, knee left elbow or tricep. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, knee to your forehead. Inhale, three-legged down dog. And then exhale into your low lunge. Knife edge of the right foot to the ground. Inhale, warrior two, left arm forward. Exhale, extended side angle pose. Inhale, star, open to the right. And then exhale to your wide-legged squat. Awesome. Inhale, back up to your star, open tall. Exhale, warrior two to the front of the room. Inhale, reverse your warrior, press down as you lift through the body. And on your exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge. Inhale is high crescent. And on that exhale, just make it a flying lunge. Inhale, one-legged mountain, arms and right knee lift. And exhale, twist to the right, right hand behind you, left arm forward. Inhale back to regular one-legged mountain, lift up through your arms, maybe extend the leg. And then exhale to standing, foot to the ground, hands to your heart center. Inhale to reach up into Tadasana Mountain. And on your exhale, cactus open, baby back bend. Inhale to reach back up in space, gaze forward, and swan dive on your exhale. Inhale, half lift, lengthen your spine, strengthen around it, gazes down. Plant the hands, move to your plank, and then your choice of how you want to flow to down dog. Take your time. Beautiful friends, from your down dog, we're going to move into the core part of our class. So shift forward to a forearm plank position. Your forearms are on parallel with one another. Palms are to the ground. Elbows are under your shoulders. And then once you're there, start to walk your toes towards your elbows for dolphin. Hips are lifting back and up in space. Weight of the head relaxes to look behind you, and shoulders are helping to lift the sternum back up towards your thighs. Both feet remain to the ground, or lift your right leg back up to a three-legged dolphin. If you're practicing any hops or little lifts here, you could press off that left leg, take the weight to your forearms for a moment, and come back down. If right leg is lifted, return the right leg to the ground, and on an inhale, take your left leg back and up. We are almost done with the dolphin. Stay with it. If left leg is up and you're practicing any of those little hops or lifts, we could try bending into that right leg and then taking a little lift off the ground. You can return left foot to the ground if it's lifted. Walk back to your forearm plank position. One at a time, press your hands to the ground to plank and then down dog, reaching the hips back up tall. And we're ready for a child's pose break. So knees out wide to the edges of your mats. Tops of the feet to the ground. Big toes together. Sit bones back to your heels. Forehead relaxed to the earth. In yoga, these breath practices we work with, they all end with the word pranayama. And prana in Sanskrit is very similar to your life force, your chi. And I love when you start to think about it in that way, that as you work, actively work the inhales, actively work the exhales, you are actively manipulating, playing with, engaging the life force in your body, moving energy around, moving breath around. We're going to do a couple more things for our core muscles. So from that child's pose, bring yourself up to a tabletop and then just drop one of your hips to the ground and bring your legs forward. We're going to work with Navasana boat pose. So a great way to start to make the shape of boat pose, your heels are to the ground, your toes are up in space, knees are bent. Pull against your hamstrings and lengthen your spine, tone the shoulder blades in, and then lift your heels off the ground. In a moment, we will hold this pose, but we're going to go what I call in and outs. So on the ins, you're going to round your back, bring your knees in, and then on the outs, as you exhale, you'll open up more into boat pose. So I want you to find that just a little bit at your own pace, working with the inhales, working with the exhales. And then the next time that you open up into boat, we will hold boat. So you could do this with your knees bent or with your legs lengthened. You can do it with your arms away from your legs, or you can grip onto the hamstrings and have that pull against the legs to lift up through your chest. Stay with your inhales, stay with your exhales, relax your face muscles, you're doing great. And then friends, with your hands behind the base of your skull, you'll lower from boat down into a reverse tabletop where your low back is to the ground, head and shoulders are off the earth, knees are bent at 90, bottoms of the feet are pointing forward. Breathe in here, and as you exhale, reach your legs straight up and then lower halfway down with the legs lengthened. So inhale, bring the knees back into you. And then exhale, legs straight up and back down to the diagonal. In, up, and downs. Keep it going for a few times, slow and controlled with your breath. And then the next time that your legs come out to the diagonal, hold them on the diagonal. Don't go so low that your low back arches. You want to feel the low back press to the ground. If you want to pull from the Ashtanga tradition, press your palms together and then reach the hands towards the feet as you slightly tone the shoulder blades back in towards you. And then with a little bit of momentum, you can even grab the back of your legs. We lift up into our boat, cross the ankles, and we step back to our down dog. Lengthen out through the spine. Take a couple rounds of breath. Excellent. From down dog, inhale the right leg back and up, three-legged down dog. And as you exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. So drape the toes down over to the left as your knee lifts up tall. Friends, you can stay right here, or if you'd like to turn this into a wild thing, pivot with your left hand, flip the dog, and then you're going to plant the right heel underneath your right knee. You can leave your left leg like side plank extended on the knife edge, or bring the left heel underneath. And then your right arm is reaching forward to the front of the room, and your hips are lifting up and your gaze is up. Or your gaze is also coming to the front. Turn back to that three-legged down dog. Reach the right leg back up tall. Breathe into it. And then on the exhale, you're going to bring your right knee over to your left elbow or tricep. We were here earlier. This time, extend your right leg off the left side of your mat. So the knife edge is off the left side of your mat. Drop your back left heel to the ground. Awesome. Press to your right arm and lift your left arm up. So this is a version of Vashisthasana side plank. Opposite hand, opposite foot. If you want to layer up, you lift your right foot up off the ground rather than having it connected to the earth. We're almost there. Your left hand can return to the mat when you're ready. Right leg lifts up, three-legged down dog. And on the exhale, your low lunge. So from tabletop earlier, friends, we got into a version I would call half moon, just from hands and knees. And then we took that and we made it into a bind. We now have the opportunity from our lunge position to go for the standing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So the right fingertips are going out in front of us by a foot or so. They can also go down to a block or a water bottle. And then you're lifting your left leg up, pressing your heel to the wall behind you, opening the front of your left hip to face to the front of the room. So you're stacking the hips. Left arm can lift up tall. That's our traditional half moon. If you're there and you're holding it, you could bring your left knee to your chest, slide your left hand to the ankle or the top of your foot, and then you could engage that bind where your knee draws back in space. And again, if you fall out of it, no worries. Stay playful with your balance. On an inhale, open and extend. And as you exhale, come down into that low lunge position. Walk your right foot over to the left side of your mat. This is half pigeon. You'll drop your right knee over to the right. Your legs are in that 7 shape. Left leg can slide a little bit back behind us. And then we can press into the fingertips, lifting up through the body, and start to come down into that humble pigeon. Bringing the head down to your hands or to your forearms. You can also do this on your back in reclined pigeon, where you make a figure 4 shape, right ankle over your left thigh, and then just grab onto the shin or the hamstring of the left leg. A little bit of flexion of your toes back towards your shin. In whatever version you're working with, find a level of sensation that makes sense for your body, and just use that breath. In that humble pigeon or half pigeon, you just want to check that you're not dropping your right hip down to the ground. So that would then cause the inside of your left leg to turn to the earth. We want the front, the top of your left leg to be pointing down to the ground. So you can think the hips are a little more on level with one another in space. We'll meet back in that down dog. It's a great time if you want to make a three-legged down dog. You can lift the right leg up and just bring some movement back into the leg. Maybe it's pumping a little bit. And then eventually both feet to the ground. From the full down dog, friends, lift the left leg back up in space, three-legged down dog. On your exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. Drape the toes down to the right as your knee lifts up. You can stay right here as scorpion tail down dog, or pivot with the right hand, flip the dog. Your left heel is underneath your knee like bridge pose. Left hand's underneath your shoulder, or right hand rather is underneath your shoulder. You can have the right leg like side plank or step it in like bridge. Lift your hips up tall as you press into the arm, press to your legs. Reach your left arm forward. And before any love is lost, turn back, three-legged down dog. Breathe in. And on your exhale, bring your left knee to your right elbow or tricep. For our version of Vashisthasana side plank, extend the left leg off the right side of your mat. Swivel your right heel to the ground, press to your left arm, and lift up through your right. To layer up, lift your left leg off the floor as you reach it to the right wall. Use the inhales, use the exhales. You're doing great. Perfect. That right hand touches the earth. One more inhale reaches our left leg tall, three-legged dog. And on the exhale, step up to your low lunge position. So we're ready for our Ardha Chandrasana, our half moon. This time you're going to use your left arm and left leg as your base. So let those left fingertips come out maybe like a foot or so in front of your left toes, or your fist or your palm, or again, you're on a block. As you lift the right leg up from here, press your heel to the wall behind you, and then point your toes over to the right, so the front of your hip bone is pointing over. Right hand could be at your hip or you're extending up, stacking hips, stacking shoulders. If you're feeling good while you're here, we can add that bend of your knee towards your sternum, and then let the right hand grab the ankle or grab the top of the foot and create that same bind we did earlier from our tabletop. Balance is not static. Balance implies motion between 2 points. You can feel that wherever you're at in this. Friends, we will work our way back into a low lunge position, carefully unwinding. And then this side of our hip opener. So for a half pigeon, simply walk your left foot to the right. Drop your left knee to the left. Slide that right leg directly back behind you. Once you've got the shape you want, lower to your forearms. Relax your head to the hands block or to the earth. And your left knee is wide of your body. If you pressed up to your hands, your left knee would be to the outside of your left hand. So your heel is more towards the center of the body, closer over towards your navel over time. But again, you want that balanced level of sensation where you feel the stretch, but where you've got the ability to breathe with it. It's not so intense. And if you're on your back, we just got that figure 4, reclined pigeon, left ankle over your right thigh. Nice deep inhales, nice long exhales. If you're on your back, you're welcome to stay there and just take a full morning stretch. If we're in a half pigeon, that down dog, again, is a great release, maybe even a three-legged down dog. Bring in any movement you want with that left leg, with that left hip. And then when you are feeling complete with your down dog, we're just going to make our way down to our back. So you can grab a drink of water, whatever you need. And as you get down to your back, you can just bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms around your knees. Just give yourself that little rock on your back, massaging out the hips, massaging out the sacrum. Yep, if you've got the hair in a bun or a ponytail, just let it go. And then reach your legs straight up in space. Relax your head. For a restorative version, we can leave it right here. This is waterfall. Or if you want to go a little bit more into it, we can take it into shoulder stand. So your triceps come down to the ground, elbows are close into the hips. Elbows bent at 90, hands reach up in space. You press into the elbows, into your shoulders and the base of your skull, and then lift the hips up off the ground. And when the legs go up, there's actually little to no pressure on the shoulders, and then particularly there's no pressure on your neck, so there's a clear airway to breathe. And one of the things I love with shoulder stand is now taking it back into plow pose. So letting the legs come back overhead behind you. Legs could stay lengthened or knees could bend. Hands can be at your low back or reach in front of you or behind you where your feet are going. Plenty of space for the breath. And then you can just release it vertebrae by vertebrae into the floor. Allow your feet to connect to the ground at hip bone distance. And for bridge, just step your heels in until your fingertips can brush your heels. And then draw the hips up off the ground. Your knees are right above the heels, right at hip bone distance. You can keep that same shape with your arm that we use to set up shoulder stand, pressing to your triceps, arms reaching up, elbows bent at 90. And then your shoulder blades can step in a little closer towards one another, making a shelf for your heart. Head is relaxed, just enjoying this last back bend. We slowly unwind out of that. Extend the left leg flat out in front of you. Hug the right knee to your right shoulder. And then take it into a spinal twist on your back, letting the left hand pull your right knee down over to the left, rolling onto the outside edge of your left hip. And then reaching and extending your right fingertips out over to the right side of the room, letting your gaze turn out across the fingertips. Nice, friends. Just to switch it out, we roll onto the back, right leg extends, left heel, or left knee rather, pulls in towards the shoulder. And then that twist, right hand pulls down over to the right. You're on the outside edge of the right hip. Left arm to the left, gaze out over the left fingertips. Inhales working a little bit against the twist, but then your exhales releasing you deeper into it. And then once you're feeling complete, just bring your knees in, wrap your arms around them, give yourself a final little rock out on your back. We'll be in our final resting pose, our Shavasana, for just a few minutes. You can add any layers of clothing back on to make yourself nice and warm. But eventually just getting into a place where you can let the weight of the body just surrender down to the floor. You can let go of controlling the breath and just let your body take back over on the breathing. These are actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, yea, the great globe itself, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and, like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Start to bring life back into your body, moving your fingers, your toes, rolling out the ankles and the wrists. Maybe a full morning stretch, reaching the arms to the back of the room as you reach the toes to the front. And eventually just rolling the weight of your body onto your side into a fetal position, letting the weight of the head relax to your outstretched arm. Deepening that breathing. From your fetal position, come back up to where we started our class with, a cross-legged position or whatever pose works best for you to end your class with. An inhale lengthens the arms wide and tall from the front edge of the sit bones. And on the exhale, just bring your hands into your heart center. The light in me greets the light in you. Namaste. Awesome, friends. Thank you.